Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and Ken Dorsey is out of the running as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive coordinator, much like in the case of Zach Robinson, much like in the case of Kellen Moore. The Bucs didn't even get a chance to interview Ken Dorsey as he has taken the offensive coordinator job with the Cleveland Browns. Joining me is Mr. Evan Wanish, the co-host of the Cannon Fire podcast, writer on BucsNation.com, and the best in the world at what he does. So, Evan, thoughts on Ken Dorsey no longer being available?
Yeah, it is something that this has happened to the Buccaneers again, where they request to interview a guy, have an interview set up, and it doesn't happen because the guy already takes a job. Now, look, not going to blame Zach Robinson, not going to blame Ken Dorsey, not going to blame Kellen Moore. Like when you're offered a job, you take it, right? There's no guarantee that Tampa was going to offer any of those guys the offensive coordinator position. So much like in the world, Dave Canales, when you're offered the job, you got to take it, right? So I do think, and again, this isn't really Canales' fault. This is just the fact that the Buccaneers made it to the second round of the playoffs, and their offensive coordinator got poached for a head coaching job, to where like the timing hasn't really worked out. Right. By the time that the Buccaneers were getting set to even have the possibility of having a new offensive coordinator, the Eagles had already interviewed Kellen Moore. The Browns had already interviewed Ken Dorsey. And I think it was clear by that point that the Falcons had a pretty good shot at taking Zach Robinson, Raheem Morris taking Zach Robinson with him. So it is unfortunate. I would say timing. And now I'm not going to blame, obviously, Canals, because it's how it happened, right? It's the timing of everything. But yeah, Ken Dorsey, I know that a lot of people have soured on him specifically because he was fired from the Bills. And I get it. But at the same time, Dorsey would have been pretty high up on my list. If you look at the numbers, and I don't have the exact numbers right in front of me here, but this season, when Dorsey was fired, the Bills' offense actually wasn't awful. He was more like the Bills sort of went through this lull, and I feel like Dorsey was kind of the scapegoat. And if you look at the numbers after Dorsey was fired, the Bills' offense actually got worse by the numbers. So, I thought Dorsey would have been a pretty solid hire. Now he goes and joins the Cleveland Browns, where, I mean, look, Kevin Stefanski's an offensive guy, right? And um, Ken Dorsey might not even be calling plays. So, does that speak to maybe just how attractive, or I should say unattractive, Tampa's offensive coordinator opening is? That, Ken Dorsey would not even interview with Tampa Bay, a place where he'd be able to call the plays, and he elects to, go to Cleveland, where Kevin Stefanski's going to have a pretty big say and a pretty big role in how that offense runs. So it is interesting to see as the Bucs head coach, as the Bucs offensive coordinator search continues.
Oh, no, let's not jump the gun. But
Yeah.
no, Ken Dorsey, he actually returns to Cleveland. He played there from '06 to '08. Like you said, I don't know if it is necessarily an issue of, hey, is this an unattractive spot? It could be. I don't know. But I feel like the timing is the bigger thing, to your point, where it's just crappy timing for the Bucs, right? I mean, all these other teams, like the Browns, the Browns and obviously some of the other teams that were available, a lot of teams that got eliminated in the wild card round. It's so interesting what difference 1 week can do, right? Or like a week and a half, let's say, in terms of being able to get people in the building just for interviews, Evan.
Yeah, they all got a head start.
Yes, they all got about a week and a half, and that's, they moved on those processes. Now, like you said, the Browns' job is interesting. Ken Dorsey might not call plays there. A lot of people were sour on Ken Dorsey because of the fact that you said, he did get fired. I don't think the Bills should have fired him personally. I thought that Ken Dorsey was doing a good job as OC of the Bills. Obviously, Buffalo felt like they needed a change. They went in a different direction, but I don't think that was necessarily a big knock on Dorsey and what he can do as an offensive coordinator. It was just the way things happened. But this is unfortunate. Ken Dorsey was one of the top guys on my list personally, and now he's not an option. Evan, was he one of the top guys on your list as well?
I don't think he wasn't at the very very top, but he was definitely up there as a guy that I would have been intrigued to see given another shot, right? Because Look, after the 2022 season, when Ken Dorsey was the Bills' offensive coordinator, there was some that like wanted him to get some head coaching buzz. So clearly, he was doing something right at some point, and then things kind of soured for Buffalo. So yeah, I do think it's a missed opportunity by the Bucs. Again, no, it's not Dave Canales' fault. It's not the Buccaneers' fault. It's not Ken Dorsey's fault. It's just sort of the timing that just did not work into the Bucs' favor here.
So we'll see what the Buccaneers do to rebound as they continue their search for their next offensive coordinator. Let us know your guys' thoughts and opinions about this down in the comments section below. I would love to hear it. Again, go check out all of Evan's work, be it on Instagram, be it on Bucs Nation, be it over at the Cannon Fire Podcast. He stays busy. So anyway, guys, again, hey, thanks so much for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. As always, we'll see you all in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.